Let's talk about self-sabotage. Why do we do it? Why do we tend to sabotage ourselves when we're trying to make a significant impact on our lives? Many medical journals will state it's due to low self-esteem, past trauma, childhood trauma even, that carries forward for many, many years, anxiety and depression. All of these types of things that are going on in our minds will lead us to actually sabotage our own goals, dreams, visions, and plans for the future. But after discussing with a number of folks and reading from various sources all across the internet, one of the best things that I had found for why we do it is because we're constantly seeking comfort. So all those reasons for why we did it, trauma, depression, anxiety, right? All of those things all stem from needing to control something, right? So when it comes to pursuing our goals, why do we feel like we need control if we came up with those goals in the first place? Aren't we in control of our goals? Aren't we in control of our lives? And the reason oftentimes is because what we're pursuing seems so grand, so vast, so far into the future that when we start taking little steps and we see barely any progress, even though there is progress, we feel the need to come back to comfort. It gets uncomfortable to progress. The farther you go, the more time, the more effort, the more money you put into something, the more uncomfortable you get. But that is not a bad thing. But it's in our human nature to want to go back to that comfort. Right? We desire comfort. We desire satiation. Right? It's a basic need of ours from the beginning of time. But there's also another basic need that's ingrained in our DNA to help us find happiness. Because if we're 100% comfortable, it doesn't mean we're 100% happy. Right? There's another key piece that's missing. And that's the pursuit of something more, or the pursuit of something that brings a sense of achievement. Right? Back in the day, it could be pursuing food for the day, pursuing a meal, consuming that meal, becoming satiated, becoming comfortable again. That constant pursuit is a very big driver of how we lead our lives. And in essence, often dictates whether or not we're happy. And the funniest thing about it is it's not just a sense of achieving that, right? Because you don't just eat one meal and you're good for the rest of your life. You want to achieve over time that sensation over and over again. Okay, and this pursuit is actually the driving factor for our happiness. It's not necessarily reaching that goal, because what happens when you reach one goal? If you think back in the past to any goal that you've reached, it could be completing a project on time. It could be passing a really tough exam. Those are all small examples of something that most of us have gone through. What happens after that? You don't just stop, lay on the couch, and quit. I mean, you can in that moment, period of time, but you decide to get back out there, right? The class isn't done. You've got more exams to study for, right? There's more to pursue after high school, trade school, college, your own business, whatever it is. You have more goals. Whenever you complete a goal, you're not done. You have more goals to achieve. You want to dream bigger, right? You want to achieve more. These are not bad things. These are in our nature to want to do so. So if we know that we need to step out of this self-sabotage mode to accomplish our goals, or at least continue in the pursuit of our goals to stay in a state of peace and happiness, then how do we stop? How do we stop wanting to get into the comfort zone? Because in the comfort zone, nothing gets accomplished. Nothing except the temporary feeling of comfort. Right? Comfort is essentially a dead zone, right, for productivity, where we can sit for as long as we choose, because we have the option to choose whether we're going to go out and work today or whether we're going to sit on the couch and feel that temporary comfort. But what's unsettling, what's extremely uncomfortable, is thinking that you could spend however long you want sitting on a couch, watching Netflix, eating whatever you want, feeling that temporary comfort, and then whenever you snap out of it, realizing that wasn't what you wanted to begin with. Right? It's similar to how people in retail market to you when you go to a checkout. Right? If you're hungry when you're shopping, especially, well, there's candy bars at the checkout. And it might not be what you feel like. It's definitely not what your body needs. But because in that moment in time, you might be looking for a little bit of comfort, you can go ahead and grab a candy bar and they sell you that right at the checkout. Same with entertainment kind of news, like the magazines you see at checkouts. It's comforting to see all the hot gossip that's going on in the world around you, or the dumpster fires that are going around everywhere. It feeds a certain type of comfort that comes from being entertained. Okay, so how do we stop this? Well, there's 3 things I can think of off the top of my head. The first one is to constantly remind yourself that you are in control of your own decisions to an extent. Obviously, you have obligations and responsibilities. If you have dependents, if you have a job, if you need to pay bills, then a lot of that will drive your decisions. But those might not be the only decisions you need to make, right? You could get a different job if you don't like your job, if you're not making enough. And it's not easy. It's absolutely not easy to do that. But you can make a decision to better that situation. You can make a decision to get a higher paying job, to eventually make more money. So instead of looking at these scenarios, right? I have to work, I have to pay bills, I have to take care of my kids all the time, so I have no time for myself. I have to cook, I have to clean. Instead of having this type of mentality that draws down on you, have an abundance mentality. And the best way that I've learned that you can use is to use this I get to instead of I have to. Right? I get to work so I can make money. I get to pay bills. Right? I have all the conveniences of the services that those bills provide. Be it water, cable, electricity. Right? I get those things. I get to spend time with my kids and I get to make delicious or healthy food for myself and for my family. Having this abundance mindset all of a sudden makes you realize that you're not trapped by the things that you chose to have in your life. Right? You chose to have a house. You chose to have a family. Right? You didn't choose to have to make money to survive, but there's a good chance that you chose what you do for a living, or you have the opportunity to choose something different. Not all of us have that. I acknowledge that, but many of us do have the option to choose something else, pursue something else. So then keep in mind, right, that you have a decision. You can choose whether or not to pursue your goals or to go into the dead zone, the comfort zone, right? And then the next thing is know that you are not controlled by your goals, dreams, and visions. Where did those come from, right? That's the first thing you need to think of is where did your goals come from, right? They came from you, your manifestations, your thoughts and your desires on what you want in life, right? So if you think about it from that perspective, how could they control you? Well, it's easy to get caught in the mentality that they do, right? You want a bigger house because now you have a bigger family. Or you want a higher paying job because you want to be able to afford more vacations with the kids. Or you want to pursue expensive hobbies that you didn't pursue in the past. Or maybe you want more free time for yourself and you want to spend less time working. All of these admirable goals. But they came from you. Right? And one of the biggest reasons that we pursue goals, aside from the pursuit itself and achieving happiness, is because we know that in the future, they'll make us happier in some way. They might make our lives more convenient. They might allow us to do more things that we enjoy and less of the things that we don't. Regardless of the reasons, I'm sure you have your reasons for your goals, but know that they come from you. And that essence alone means you control them and not the other way around. If the pain that comes from the pursuit of a goal is ever so much greater than the benefit that you would get from achieving that goal or pursuing it to begin with, then you can change the goal. It's no longer a goal. Instead, it's a burden. Right? Don't make your goals your burdens. Instead, let them go and pursue something else that will make you happy. And constantly be looking at your goals to make sure that you're doing that. All right, and that brings me to the last tip on how to keep yourself from drifting off into the comfort zone. And that is letting go. Okay? So kind of coming back to number 2, except in this case, you're not changing your goals, you're letting go completely of the things that are bogging you down. Right? This could be goals, right? Things that you no longer want to pursue. You've grown, you've matured, you've pivoted. What is the point of pursuing a goal that no longer aligns with your visions and your desires in life? Right? But letting go isn't just about the goals. It's also about many other things that bog you down. If it's other people in your life, you need to let them go. Okay? Family is family. Great friends are great friends. But if there are people in your life that aren't bringing a positive energy and they're constantly bringing you down, you need to let them go so you can put your time into other people in your life that are worth your time. You can put your time into the goals and the dreams that you have that are actually worth your time. Okay? And if it's a job that's bogging you down and you have the ability, you have the skills to look elsewhere, and I guarantee you have the ability or the skills in some way, shape, or form, then start pursuing those avenues. Because the more you let go of the negatives, the more you bring in the positives. And this comes all the way back to the point of, if you're not feeling like you're being controlled, then you won't feel as much the need to control. Right? I've found myself so many times late at night. I get a lot of good work done, but I'm exhausted. The workday was hard. The kids didn't go down easy for bed. I didn't get to the gym. I didn't make any healthy food. After I complete the work, I eat a lot of food at night, a lot of unhealthy food. I find myself throwing on a TV show I'm not even interested in. It just seemed interested for a minute. I get 2 or 3 episodes in it. And then all of a sudden, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. I have to get up at 6 or 7 for the next day. I'm going to be exhausted. And it's going to be so much harder to fight myself to get things done. Right? Willpower will already have been exhausted. I won't even have willpower for the next day. And then because you're exhausted the next day, you might repeat the steps that night. And it's a continuous cycle. Right? So take these 3 tips, these 3 reminders that you are in control. Right? You can choose to stay out of that comfort zone. And it will benefit you so much more not to go after the temporary comforts and to go pursue those long-term dreams of yours that will make you happy. Even if you don't achieve them for years, if you're working towards that goal, it will make you happier. I have some goals that I have set 5, 10 years out from now. If I make a small fraction of 1% of working towards that goal in a given day, week, month, I'm happy. Right? Because I am working towards something of value to me. I'm putting my time into that. I'm not succumbing to the temporary reliefs that help me escape the everyday life. I'm actually living my life. So I hope you take this to heart. I hope you remind yourself that there's more than just comfort. And I wish you the best of luck. Talk with you soon.